fight against this bill. Here we have another pro-life bill and an opportunity. Once again, we're not going to end abortion. Since 2010, we'd have 12 pro-life, and I use that word loosely in this body, bills that have come through this body, and we still have not ended abortion. And I don't believe House Bill 366 is going to end the murder of babies. Just for the record, again, I'm 100% pro-life, and I just believe all life is valuable. And I'm going to tell you the problems I have with this legislation. So on page 1, line 36, it says that the life of each human being begins at fertilization, and unborn children have an interest in life, health, and well-being and should be protected. So we're already saying that at fertilization, we think we should be protecting life. Our Idaho Code, 184016, says an embryo or fetus shall mean a human being. And in 184001, it says murder is the unlawful killing of a human, including but not limited to an embryo or fetus. So what that means is a fetus is defined as a baby or a human being. To kill the fetus, some people call it a baby, to kill the fetus is murder, even in the case of abortion. But what our law does is gives an exemption to a mother or a doctor who decides to kill that baby. While this bill seems like good on the outside, and we all care about babies, and a heartbeat is important, we just said in our law that life begins at fertilization. So why are we changing that starting point? Why are we now talking about heartbeats when we've already said it starts at fertilization? Overall, what this bill does is it says you cannot kill a fetus, an embryo, or baby if you hear a heartbeat. And then we ask the doctor, the ones that's actually going to be doing the abortion, that's getting paid to do the abortion, we ask him to go listen for the heartbeat, or her. And then there's a penalty section of the bill if the doctor performs the abortion anyway. But the last part of the bill talks about the effective date. And what the bill says on page 3, line 16, it says this bill is effective upon certain occurrences. The occurrences is the United States Appellate Court having a case judgment upholding a similar bill that has to do with heartbeats. So I can see, let's just say that happens. Let's just say a heartbeat bill passes in another appellate court, and it's got to be similar. So I can see the first challenge right there is that our law is not considered as similar enough, and I can see a lawsuit then. But the big problem to me is that this is a trigger bill. We are relying on the courts to let us know when we can kill babies. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. We're ceding our power to write law. We're letting the courts do that, and it's called judicial supremacy. And I don't believe that it's the court's job to define it. We're defining when life is. We're defining how you can do an abortion, when you can do an abortion. If we're going to do that, why are we saying it a heartbeat? And while we wait on the appellate court to give us a ruling, there'll be 29 babies murdered this week within 20 miles of this Capitol. And next year, when we come back, if there has been a court hearing, we'll be up to 1,500 babies. Every day, babies are being killed in this state. 29 a week right around here. You know, 49 out of the 50 states, they're not waiting for a court decision when it comes to marijuana. Even though the courts have said, and there's federal law on marijuana, the federal law says it's illegal. they understand states' rights. And I often wonder why those states are exercising their rights on marijuana, but not babies' lives, not human life. And when you get into trigger law scenarios, what happens when the federal law that we say is supreme and there's a Supreme Court ruling on our guns? Are we going to stand up and say, federal Supreme Court, you don't tell us what to do? We make our own laws in Idaho. I believe laws should be written by legislatures, not by the courts. So I have a real problem when we put this decision-making into our courts. And if you're the eternal optimist, and they've brought it up earlier, and you think the Supreme Court is going to overrule Roe versus Wade, well, there's at least 40 other cases that would have to be overturned also. And courts don't overturn their own decisions. And if you need proof of that, just look to the Dred Scott case. That court has never pulled back its decision. But there's another part of this bill that I do have a problem with. And when the bill talks about babies and what babies are allowed to be killed, it doesn't matter if they have a heartbeat. So on page 2, line 42 and 43, it says that if a baby was conceived out of rape or incest, you don't need to even look for a heartbeat. You can just abort the baby then. That is, those babies are important. Those fetuses, babies, embryos are important. Why would we put that in code to discriminate against how a baby was conceived? Why would we pull out that group of babies? Would we pull out girl babies, boy babies, different racial babies? No, then why are we allowing the killing of babies just because of how they were made? It's not right. Another issue I have with this bill is the penalties for violation. It is not equal protection. So if you go look at the penalties, so we tell them you have to look for a heartbeat. If you see a heartbeat, you can't abort. And if they do it anyway, if the lady says, go ahead, do it anyway, let's take care of this, what happens? We punish the doctor only and not the woman. And it's her decision to make that decision. So this is not equal protection under the law. The other thing I have a problem with this too is when we take the judicial supremacy route, which we're doing, saying the federal government is supreme, federal government or the Supreme Court has said that we can't stand between a woman and her abortion up to 6 weeks. 6-week-old baby. That's pretty pregnant. So we can't make any decisions. We have to allow abortions up to that. 24 weeks, which is, did I say 6 weeks? I meant 6 months. 6 months. So a 6-month pregnant woman with a 6-month-old baby. So if the courts have already said that, why do we think passing a bill to say, no, the heartbeat, we're going to just put, the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court. If you're going to buy into federal supremacy, I don't think there's anything more supreme than the Supreme Court. So you think an appellate court's going to make a decision and the Supreme Court's not going to be supreme to that? They're not going to overturn this. The only way to end this is the same way we dealt with black people in this country. Every state had to stand up and take a stand that this will not happen in our state. If you want to kill your babies and you want to smoke your marijuana or do your drugs, go to Oregon, go to Washington, go to California. But I want our state to be different. I don't want us killing babies in this state. And I just do not believe this is the right route with judicial supremacy, putting all our power into the hands of the courts. And my other concern is every pro-life bill And like I said, I use that term loosely. Every pro-life bill that comes out of this body does not end abortion in this state. We need to just put an end to abortion in this state. We're regulating what babies can be killed, how they can be killed, what types. It's sickening. It is sickening that we even have to look at bills like this, and we put this into law that we're going to murder babies. Because if you look at the language that you are putting into our code, we're saying it's okay to kill babies, just certain ones. You know, it just depends on how they were. We're putting that into our law, and we're responsible for that. We're going to be accountable for that someday. That's all I have to say. I just hope you really consider this route we're going down with judicial supremacy. I truly believe it's a dangerous route. We're already setting up federalism committees to look at federal overreach, federal fingers into our state. We need to take a stand as a state, as a legislature, as a moral people, that this is not allowed in our state anymore. So I urge you to vote no. And I know it'll be hard, because this will be sold in your districts as legislator voted against the heartbeat bill. But you know what? It's time we educate the citizens what we're actually doing here. And it's time that these pro-life and pro-choice groups stop making money off every year we pass a bill one way or another, and they're making money off of us.
I object. I think she's impugning the motives of individuals that are trying to end this horrific practice called abortion.
Please take into consideration the gentleman's objection as you finish your debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't. They do make money because of these court cases. Every single decision we make goes to court, almost every decision, and it's an opportunity for everyone on either side of the issue to fund their agendas, which we want agendas being pushed, but we're not fixing anything. Only we can fix it. And that's when we start taking a stand and say, all life is important in Idaho. Not just when it starts at the heartbeat, but I'm talking life that starts at conception, and we will not kill our babies in Idaho. Thank you.